are the A, B, C, D, and E's of emergency medicine. So when you enter an emergency room, somebody comes in with a trauma, it looks like everyone's doing something different at once. It looks like a very flying situation, but really it's a very methodical, stepwise way to address an emergency patient. A is for airway. Step one, if a patient can't talk to you, if they're choking, they can't breathe, that is the number one thing. If you're the only person on site, you must make sure they have an open airway. B is for breathing. So you would think that that's the same thing, but breathing is usually also their lungs. Like they actually have something in their lungs that they can't breathe. So they could be talking okay, but you could see like maybe they're not able to take a big deep breath, or they might be having like something called paradoxical breathing, where you take it, normally when you take a deep breath, your chest should expand. But if you take a deep breath and your chest goes in, that means you probably have a broken rib.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
called paradoxical breathing, yes.
Oh, because I had broken ribs and I couldn't breathe at all. So.
Yes, exactly. So that's the next thing they address. They whisper. C is circulation. That's a hemorrhage. That's a blood issue. If someone's bleeding out, they might go into shock. So D and E, we can that's not so important for here. But what's interesting is that it used to be, they're seeing over here that the first is stop the serious bleeding. It used to be the C that they would start with, circulation. And then they would address the stoppage of breathing, and then they would address the poisoning, which is very interesting that eventually they switched around the order. So now hemorrhage is the third, it's the third most dire situation to address.
And the first is air.
The first is air. The first is breathing. The first
because you can only hold your breath so long.
So long. The person will die faster without air than with bleeding out.
Yeah, you go on the priority. That makes sense.
So that was what was really, the only time there's an exception is with a cardiac arrest, and that is CAB. So C is for circulation then. If somebody is having a heart attack, it matters more that their heart has stopped. If someone's heart has stopped, they don't have a pulse, forget their airway, forget everything else. You first need to shock them.
Right?
No, that's anesthesia machine. It belonged to the woman who donated its father.
So that's interesting how emergency medicine has changed. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Oh,
no problem.
That's Batsheva.
Hi.